Hey, this is Hans from Dakota Angler and Outfitter. In this video we're going to tie a kind of a jig version of a Slovak Heavy Nymph. And if you don't know what a Slovak Heavy Nymph is, and most people probably don't, it's a type of pattern, heavily weighted kind of epoxy covered Czech nymph that is used to get to the bottom of deep pools very quickly. And what got me thinking about doing a version of this was I didn't need quite something that heavy, but I liked the way that those fished and caught fish, and the translucence of that kind of shellacked Czech nymph kind of translated into a jig pattern that I've been using this winter. And it starts with a base of white 140 denier thread, and then I tie in some 210 denier olive thread that's attached to a bobbin. And you can mix and match, but I like the way the white looks. You'll see what we are gonna coat this all in UV resin here in just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do first is just kind of use this white 140 to build up the body of the fly, and you can create the shape that you want. I've been doing kind of a caddis larva shape where you actually have a fly that's a little bit peanut shaped. It's got kind of a thick football shaped abdomen. Once you build that taper, then you can bring your thread up behind the bead. And then the trick is getting your olive thread. What I'm going to do there is just spin that bobbin up so that thread is kind of tightly wrapped, or coiled, however you want to say it. And then I'll take and make a first wrap, getting this thread to look nice and evenly wrapped around your abdomen as it goes around is a bit of a trick. So you can check the far side, make sure your ribbing isn't too far off. It wants to move around over the top of that thread body. Just bring that all the way up to your white thread. Tie it off with your white thread. Do a half hitch on the white thread. And we're going to take both of those off. Now at this point, you could just shellac it with your solar res, cover it with solar res, and then go back with, what I mean is you could do this part of your body here with your solar res, leaving a little bit of exposed thread here, hit it with your UV light, and then go back in with your a new bobbin and thread and put in a thorax of dubbing if you like. What I've been doing is more close to some of the kind of weight flies from Slovenia, although those are usually tied on just a regular scud hook, but they have a hot spot on them at the front of the fly. And so I've been taking hot orange floss, datum floss, and putting in my hot spot at the front of the fly, and then coating the whole fly with solar res. And what you get when you do that, let's go ahead and put in our hot spot here. Just start it with a couple of wraps. I've got this on a bobbin. And then as soon as you've got it on, you can just do your whip finish, just a few turns. Trim off your thread. Now it looks like a silly little fly, but what's cool is when you hit this whole thing, this is thin solar res, get a ball on there. And then take your bodkin, can see it really comes alive with that kind of segmentation. It's a template. You could use this same body technique on any kind of nymph. And the Slovak Heavy Nymph would be this same type of fly, but first you start with a scud hook, coat it in lead, several layers, and then do this same type of technique. Cover it with an epoxy or a UV resin, and what you get either way. Here we've got the tungsten bead acting as the weight rather than the lead wire on a Slovak Heavy Nymph. But when you have a smooth body like this, there's no resistance when it sinks in the water column, and so it gets down very, very, very quickly. And that's an advantage when you're fishing fast water. You want to get those flies down to the level of fish as fast as you can. And so I started using this pattern as a takeoff on kind of the look of the body of a Slovak nymph, but on a jig hook. So I could use it as a weight fly, but surprisingly it's been catching a ton of fish just tied just like that. Super simple, but you get that kind of depth and cool segmentation. So it's got a couple things going for it despite being very simple and kind of silly looking. But some of the days on my winter fishing this winter, this has caught more fish than the midge fly that I've had on a dropper tag along with it. When I kind of expected they would take the midge more, they ate this more. So definitely a fly to mess around with. Use that body technique on some other flies and tie some of these as a weight pattern in different sizes to help you get down deep quickly, and you'll be surprised it'll also catch some fish for you. I'm Hans from Dakota Angler and Outfitter. Thanks for watching.